Good morning, Mizzou fans. Gabe DeArmond back here with you, PM in the AM, starting another week, Monday, January 20th, 2025. Look, Missouri had a big week in basketball in the midst of a four-game winning streak. Continue play tomorrow night at Texas. We have full coverage of all of that on the site. We'll talk about that some here tomorrow morning, probably Wednesday morning. But if we're going to do this 5 days a week, sometimes we're going to go off on some tangents and we're going to do some of the off-season, like, is Pete Rose a Hall of Famer type content. Not that specific content. We're not going to talk about that, but you get my point. Some days we got to come up with some different subjects. So I've got one of those that comes from watching the NFL playoffs this weekend, and I'm not sure that this is one that is necessarily going to uplift your spirits this morning. But I was watching Jayden Daniels account for 350 total yards and 2 touchdowns in leading the Washington Commanders to the NFC title game for the first time in 33 years after an upset of the Detroit Lions. And it made me think, is Jayden Daniels now the biggest what if in Mizzou history? For the context, let's go back, 3 years or whatever it was, I think in the spring of 2022 when Missouri brought Jayden Daniels in for a visit. He was in the transfer portal from Arizona State. There was one social media account out there that said Jayden Daniels has signed with Missouri. I was never told Jayden Daniels signed with Missouri. I certainly had indications that it looked very good, that Missouri felt like things were, you know, maybe done or certainly very close to done. I never had anybody tell me they were done enough that I felt confident writing that. But when Jayden Daniels left Columbia, most people thought he was going to be Missouri's next quarterback. Obviously, he ended up going on a visit to LSU, committing to LSU. In 2023, Missouri's first loss was to LSU in a 49-39 game. Jayden Daniels had 259 passing yards, 130 rushing yards, 4 total touchdowns, was basically the reason Missouri lost that game. Missouri finished the season, obviously, 11-2, 8th in the country. If Jayden Daniels is Missouri's quarterback, are they in the playoff in 2023? Ultimately, I don't know, and here's why. Because they did lose to Georgia. And, even if Missouri has one more win, they probably still lose the tiebreaker to Georgia. Georgia goes to the SEC title game. Missouri is like the number 3 SEC team rather than whatever the number 4 SEC team, whatever they were. So I'm not sure. Now you could argue with Jayden Daniels, Missouri beats Georgia on that night, and that's a whole rabbit hole that who knows. And also, I think the conversation is a little dismissive of Brady Cook, right? He had a very good 2023. Is the difference between what Brady Cook did for that team and what Jayden Daniels would have done for that team big enough that it makes that difference? Who knows, man? But I think on the list of what ifs, like, I think Tony Van Zant has probably always been number one for Missouri fans. You could throw Ezekiel Elliott into that conversation. I think one that's underrated is Adrian Claiborne. If Missouri gets Adrian Claiborne, does that make enough of a difference in the 2007 defense that maybe they beat Oklahoma and Missouri's in the national title game that year? You can throw way back, John Elway. What if Tyus Edney doesn't score? What if Clarence Gilbert hits a few more shots against Oklahoma, all that? What if, there's not a technical foul in the 1976 Elite Eight? So there's a bunch of them. But I just wonder now that we have seen Jayden Daniels do what he's doing as a rookie in the NFL, if he doesn't top that list as the biggest and honestly maybe most painful what if in Mizzou history. Anyway, like I said, just some Monday morning ramblings. Appreciate you hanging out here with me for a few minutes every weekday morning. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of those things. Full day on the site. 10 thoughts went up this morning. SEC basketball poll. We expect Missouri is going to be nationally ranked in the AP poll later today. So all kinds of stuff over at Power Mizzou. Check that out. Thanks for hanging out here on PM in the AM. Talk to you tomorrow morning.